Joni, Colonel. Colonel used to scare the hell out of me. I was a captain in the United States Air Force. And every time I get around a colonel, they used to scare me really bad. We want you to go to Washington, D.C. and scare the hell out of them, all right? I want to share with you just briefly what Kim and the rest of this amazing group of men and women, why the next 85 days are so important. And Jeff, thank you, brother. I'm telling you, you can't help but be excited being around you after about 2 minutes. That's what I want to see out of every one of you over the next 85 days, is if we can make a difference. See, I want to open up the newspaper on the 5th of November, and I want to see a headline that says that Iowa changes America. Because that's what should happen. Iowa changes America. I'm not sure there is a place in this country that has the potential to make as big an impact in this country as what Iowans do over the next 85 days. And let me just share with you why I feel that way and the reasons for it. And it happened, Jeremy and the rest of the men and women who are running for the Senate here in Iowa, and the opportunity that they have. I was with Mike Moore and Brian Schmidt, with Crystal Bronson, some great men and women who are going to bring business common sense, individuals who understand that you can't overtax, overregulate, overlitigate, that you got to have a skilled workforce. Those 4 principles, you elect those individuals to the Senate. And what Kim and Terry have done together, as you've already heard here, with a Republican House, but a Democrat-controlled Senate, has been good. But you can take Iowa from good to great. And that's what this is about. Taking Iowa from good to great. Changing this country through Iowa, through Iowa's values, through Iowa's Senate and their House, and this extraordinary governor and lieutenant governor working together. And I want to give you an example of why what I'm talking about really matters. In my home state in 2003, for the first time since the 1870s, we had a Republican House, Republican Senate, Speaker, Lieutenant Governor, and a Governor. For the first time in 2003. We had, just like you did in the Senate, Democrats that were blocking tort reform, blocking the ability to lower taxes, blocking those good pro-business concepts. But in 2003, we had run as pro-business Republicans. We were going to treat this government in Texas like you have to treat your business. We were faced with a $10 billion budget shortfall. The economy had turned down, those revenues, but we had stood up in front of the people and they said, this is what we're going to do. We are not going to raise your taxes. And we heard all of the horror stories of you can't cut that much budget. People will leave your state. You won't be able to hire people to come to your universities. You'll be the laughing stock of America if you make those type of draconian cuts. But we knew that we had told the people that that was what we were going to do, and that's what they expected us to do. They had elected us to be principled leaders. And we implemented those reductions. We passed the most sweeping tort reform in the nation in 2003. And the results were this. When we returned the following January of 2005, our legislature doesn't meet but every other year. There's something good about not having them in town. We came back in because the people trusted us. They knew that they could risk their capital. They could invest in the businesses. And we came back in and we had an $8 billion budget surplus. That's the result of that. You lower that income tax rate. You come back in make the changes, you put the predictability and the stability in the regulatory climate. That one, I don't know how many million square feet building that Facebook is building in Iowa today, you will see that happen time after time as companies move into this state. And Iowa truly becomes part of the great revolution that's happening in America with red state governments creating jobs and giving people the opportunities. And people will come from all across this country to live in your state, to be a part of that. Just like they've done in other red states that have implemented those policies. That's what you have the potential to do. You see, our founding fathers truly were visionary. They were brilliant. As they crafted that Constitution, as they developed that Bill of Rights. I happen to be a big fan of the 10th Amendment. Joni, I'm kind of funny about that. I think the federal government ought to do a few things like is enumerated in the Constitution and do those few things very well. And everything else should be left to you, Kim and Terry and the legislature and the states and the individuals. I want the government to do a few things and do those few things very well. Like defend our border. That is a constitutional we have a border that is porous. We have a border that individuals who don't necessarily have Americans' best interest in mind are using to penetrate. Yes, there is a humanitarian crisis going on the border today with young children that are being put on trains and sent up for a 50 to 1,800 mile trip where they're being misused and abused and recruited into cartels and drug gangs. But the individuals that I worry most about are these that we don't know who they are. The other 80+% of those that are coming across the border, way too many of them that have criminal records that have been deported multiple times, but they're coming back into this country. Like the individuals who killed a Border Patrol agent in Willacy County, Texas last week in front of his family while they're fishing. An individual who had been deported multiple times with criminal backgrounds. Like the individual that 5 weeks before had molested a 9-year-old child in her bedroom after coming in the window in Parker County, Texas. That's the reason that after I met with the President and I ascertained that I was not going to get an answer that I wanted from that President, that I didn't have an opportunity, I had no other option other than to make a command leadership decision and say, if Washington is not going to secure the border with the United States and Mexico, Texas will. That's the reason her race is so important. We have got to have her in the United States Senate. This is going to be the seat that makes the difference for us. When it comes to leading our country in the direction it needs to go, Joni is at the tip of the spear. I'll do whatever I need to do for the next 85 days. I'll do whatever is required over the course of the next almost 3 months to make sure that America gets to see a leader who has extraordinary character, an individual who understands what has made America great, and it happens to go back to where she was raised and what she did. And that is to understand that a farmer is a good